I've been reflecting lately the importance of consistency and really, really, really practicing whatever practice it is we feel drawn to. And I think one of the main reasons very often we don't experience miracles, or we don't feel like we are convinced and we all still have doubts, is that we are not consistent. And we think that our practice has to make us happy all the time. Like we may practice lessons, and as soon as we start feeling numb or not happy enough, we feel like we judge that doing lessons don't work, and then we give up instead of realizing. And that this is what I realized in my practice, that sometimes it feels exciting and sometimes it doesn't feel like anything. Sometimes it feels like boring. Sometimes you feel like you are forcing yourself even to do something, and sometimes you feel like it does not actually work. And what I learned is that I still need to keep going. I still need to keep going, and the idea that nothing is happening is actually a lie, and it's not true, and something is always happening whether I feel it or not, because what is actually important is the intention that I have and desires that I have to really, really forgive and to really, really free my mind from all the ego's lies and doubts and fears. I want another way, and sometimes there are doubts and you feel like nothing is happening. I don't see God present in my life, even though a week ago you were flying. And I know that I just need to keep going, and I just need to keep practicing whatever I practice and not give up. And I think that consistency, whether you feel something happening or not, is actually what works. And that's one of the important things we need to realize. And sometimes, for example, people share that they started following God, but their relationships got worse, for example, with their family, which very often happens. And then they feel like, oh, I'm praying, I want this relationship to get better, I want them to understand me, but it's not happening. It's getting worse and worse. And I think, or nothing is happening, and then we start doubting God. But our desire for God and our desire for another way and our desire to let go of all the judgments, to really heal our mind, has to be really, really strong. And that's what I had to come into in my mind, because I had that experience too when I started practicing and following God. I felt like I reached a little point when I didn't feel like anything was changing and anything was shifting, and the ego was saying that that was the perfect reason for me to stop practicing, and then that was all the reasons to feed my doubts and fears. But then I realized that actually I didn't care. So I had to make a decision that I wanted God no matter what, no matter how the relationships looked like, and no matter whether I felt comfortable or not. When you make the decision that you want God no matter what, then it doesn't matter what happens in form. You feel the strength and you feel trust and you feel clear about what you want, and that's actually what makes us feel happy. We think that what makes us happy is like having people who approve us or approve our practice or approve our choices, but that's actually not true. We don't need approval, and we don't need that everyone agrees with us. We just need to be clear about what we want, and that's up to us. That's our decision. So what do you want? Do you want to be clear about your desire and about your goal and about your path, or you want to have all the reasons to doubt your path and to doubt God and to doubt experience of miracles, because if that's what you want, you will always find the reason, because God is not supposed to make everything perfect in this world. No, following God does not mean that everyone will be happy with our choice, but real desire is when we are willing to follow Him despite the reflections, especially at the beginning, despite the resistance, despite the doubts and fears. We choose to trust and to continue, because that's what makes us feel alive, more alive than anything else we have ever done in our life. And I think at the beginning, the ego would give me a lot of reasons, and it would say that, oh, if you stop, if you're not gonna get a job, and if you are not gonna have a normal life, whatever that may mean, you are gonna die, you are not gonna have any money, and you have to have the job, you have to do these typical things. And it became so strong that I got curious. I was like, why is there so much defensiveness reflected either in my mind in terms of thoughts, or in terms of the reflections of the images of this world? People would come, my dad or people would come up to me and say, you can't live like that. And I'm like, why is there so much defensiveness? This means that there is something else on the other side, and the ego is desperately trying to defend against that something else, against that another way. So I got really, really curious, and I decided, okay, even if I have to risk my life, I want to find out what is on the other side of this way of thinking. You have to do this, you have to strive, you have to make an effort, you have to suffer, you have to be in pain. I decided that no matter what, I would put everything on the line to find out if there was another way. And of course my life was never threatened, but sometimes that's how it feels. And if we don't find the strength and this power in ourselves to say, it doesn't matter what is the outcome, I'm still willing to follow, the ego will very easily distract you and very simply find all the reasons why you need to give up, or not go forward, or not take the step and hide. And it will give you all the reasons why you can't take the step, and why it's so scary, and why you should be afraid. But when you find the strength inside of you to say, no matter what, I want to find out the truth, and I'm not asking God for any outcomes and for anything in form, I just want to find out the truth, then you will realize that you are not actually touched by those outcomes and by that disapproval or by that disappointment, because fire within that is burning within you is for God and for the truth, and nothing else matters. So that's actually what we are seeking, to find that fire, and to live from that place of fire, and to lead with that fire in our lives, rather than asking God for these different signs and symbols. No, I want God, and I'm not gonna put any conditions on that desire, of if God is gonna give me 5 miracles and I'm gonna follow Him, and if not, I'm not gonna follow Him. No, we have to find something deeper, something more reliable, and something more consistent in our mind. And this goes it's the same with our practice. We have to be willing to practice whether we feel it or not. We have to be willing to be consistent as best as we can. We are not asked to reach any standard, but as best as we can, because you can't give up at the first opportunity to give up and then expect to find the truth. You have to go all the way. And actually we watched this movie, Pilgrim's Progress, and this is a typical journey, spiritual journey that we need to go through. And one of the things that this main character has to decide is that he's not going to be distracted or discouraged by difficulties and hardships, and he has to be willing to go all the way no matter what. And he can't search for reasons why his path, he can't really afford to doubt himself and doubt his path and doubt God. He has to go all the way. And I think that's one of the first stages Like you have to find that desire in your heart that is not swayed by any conditions, that you don't put conditions to. I want God and nothing else, and I'm gonna find out the truth, and I'm gonna take steps. And that doesn't mean that I'm gonna push myself, but I'm gonna be consistent in my practice and in my thoughts, and I'm gonna approach my mind in a different way and my experience in a different way, and I'm not gonna judge, because I know that there are things under the surface that is happening in my mind that I can't always see and I can't always comprehend, but I'm gonna trust the one who is guiding me, is always working with me, and is always giving me the way forward. And I think this is an important decision in our mind, to really, really experience the light and to experience the truth.